All right. Hello, everyone. It's Queen Cole here, and this is part two of the series Transparency Talks in partnership with the I Am Academy. Today's topic: I am determined to live a fulfilled life. Can you be determined when you get sick? We all have a choice of how to work with illness. We can choose to be miserable, or we can choose to learn about ourselves and grow from the experience. Joining me all the way from the UK is my sister friend, Adayinka Kalani. She has been recognized in both personal and professional peer groups for having the ability to make people feel both welcome and able to unveil their heart, remiss of any fear or judgment. She brings an enlightened and impactful vernacular to the speaking arena and is often recognized for her unique knowing and profound sensibility. Did I mention she is a four-time best-selling author, wife, and mother? Help me welcome Adayinka to Light the Path podcast. Hello.
Good morning. For some reason, I can't hear you properly.
You cannot hear me properly?
No, your voice is muffled.
Okay, let me check that. Hmm, I don't know. Let's see. What about now?
Still can't hear you.
Hmm, okay. All right, just a second. Okay, Adayinka, can you hear?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, I have to do your introduction all over again. I would be
Oh,
remiss not to have a great introduction for you. It cannot be muffled. Okay. We have somebody watching. They said I can hear you both just fine. Okay.
okay.
Thank you for telling us. But I still want to do the intro all over again. I can't not let you have this great intro. So let me start it again. This is part two of the series Transparency Talks in partnership with the I Am Academy. I am determined to live a fulfilled life.
Thanks.
Can you be determined when you get sick? We all have a choice of how to work with our illness. We can choose to be miserable, or we can choose to learn about ourselves and to grow from the experience. Joining me all the way from the UK is my sister friend, Adayinka Kalani. She has been recognized in both personal and professional peer groups for having an ability to make people feel both welcome and able to reveal their heart, any remiss, so that way they don't feel fear or judgment. She brings an enlightened and impactful vernacular to the speaking arena and is often recognized for her unique knowing and profound sensibility. Did I mention she's a four-time best-selling author, wife, and mother? See, so hey, we got to let the people know who you are.
Good morning. Nice to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, thank you so much for being up very early to be able to do this. So we scheduled this just right, and we won't even be long. I want to just jump right into it because let's talk about it. It's transparency talk.
Yes, yes, it
You and
is.
you and I were both was Forged by Fire. What book was that for you?
Yeah, it was my first book. First by Fire was my very first time of writing anything.
Tell me about your experience with Forged by Fire, or tell us the name of your chapter and tell us a little synopsis of it.
Yes. So when I've been feeling as if God wanted me to share my testimony for quite a number of years now. But I kept putting it off. I kept saying, oh, maybe I'll start when I retire, or, I kept finding all sorts of excuses. And then when COVID happened, honestly speaking, I suddenly realized, that there was no guarantee that tomorrow was going to come, that I couldn't delay anymore and I couldn't stop. I couldn't, you know, delay what the assignment God had given me. So I thought, you know what, God, I'm ready now. I'm going to talk about anything you want me to talk about. So then I saw the call for authors for Forge by Fire. And I thought, okay, let me join this because the title actually was you know, what did it for me. I thought, Nika, that title really describes you. You have been forged by fire and you're now refined. You're refined to shine, which happens to be the title of my chapter, Refined to Shine. Because I realized that, all these challenges I faced, they were actually, God used it to when you're like being polished and you're being all the rough edges were being polished away. And I can honestly say that I mean, MS is not a good thing, but when I look back now, I know God has always been with me, and I can actually see that when he tells us that he will never leave us, he will never forsake us, that however dark it was in my life, God was always with me. And so that was why I decided to do Forth by Fire, build God tough. And then when I did that, I suddenly, I was like, oh, this writing thing is not too bad, Then I did a joyful heart, just to share my testimony about having a special needs child. You know what? You have to choose joy in spite of all the things going on around you. You can actually decide to let it drown you, or you can just come out of it and just focus on the good. Even though there's so many bad happening, but there will still be some good things that you can focus on. So then I wrote a joyful heart, and then after that, I thought, okay, I saw the call for authors for more precious than gems, she knows her worth. And I thought, oh, that really describes me as well. I really do know my worth now. So I wrote in that one as well. And then finally, I did Heal Her. I talked about how God healed me of all sorts, I mean, my all childhood traumas and the things I had gone through, that, once we allow God to just step into the arena, he's able to cause us to just come out, a better person than when we started that journey with him.
Yeah, I mean, and for you to have that courage, I mean, because that's how I met you with Forged by Fire. I was also
Yes.
a new author, and we have some comments here. Rashonda, thank you so much for joining us this evening. She said, hello, good evening. She said,
Hello.
refined to shine. Yes, choose joy.
Yes.
Absolutely. I mean, because the title, just like you said, also caught my attention. But I wrote about something different. And when you wrote about it and I read what you were writing about, I said, oh my gosh, I can relate. And so then we start messaging each other.
Yes.
And I'm like, I have MS also.
I
And
know.
I was like, but I did not have the courage like you to say it out loud, and it's going to be published, and it's going to like we're international best-selling authors, so a lot of people got it right.
Yes. It was a big decision for me actually because not everybody knew that I had the diagnosis. In fact, some members of my family did not know about it. So when I decided to write about it, was when I started telling the people. I was like, okay, you guys, I know I haven't said it. I had never told you, but I have been living with MS, and so I generally just put it out in the open, and it was refreshing for me. It was okay. I realized that look, there's no need to hide because it's not about, I mean, it's a bad thing, but when you're open about it, then the enemy does not have that grip of fear over your life. And it's made a massive difference for me, honestly. The fact that I can talk about it, I can tell people that look, it's not the end of the world. Other people that have MS have reached out to me. They'll be like, "Oh my God, Yinka, thanks for talking about it. Thanks for talking about it." And to me, it's been liberating because I always kept it to myself. I never told anybody apart from my immediate family. Nobody knew I had it.
Yeah,
So
and that's why I said we have to do this, because at first I wanted to have you on the first. I forgot. There's an MS Day. March is
yes,
MS
yes,
Awareness Month. There's an
yes.
MS Day. I think it's the first Tuesday, and we weren't able to connect the schedule. And so I
I
was like,
know.
maybe that's I'm not supposed to say anything, right? So I was like, ah. But then when we came back and we were able to get, I said, you know what? And every time I thought about it, I was telling my daughter at dinner, I said, every time I think about like saying it out loud, I get teary eyed, and I'm like, why am I like this? But when I was talking to you and I saw how you stepped out on faith and said, you know, here I am, this is what it is, it really encouraged me. And I told you that was almost a year ago.
I know. Yes, a year ago, it
I
was
said,
good to actually, when you mentioned, I was like, "Oh my God!" So I'm not the only one on this journey.
yes, and that's it. Next year, we're going to do it. We're going to say it.
Yes,
So today we are saying we are MS survivors, we're MS warriors, and
yes,
we have a diagnosis, but we're still here. We're doing it. So I was thinking
yes,
about, even when we were messaging, I'm like, I don't even know why, but people say, you know, I'm a cancer survivor or I'm battling lupus. People say it, but I never hear
yes.
people talk about MS.
I know. Do you know? Before I got diagnosed, I'd never heard of it. So it was like, "What on earth is that?" Like, excuse me, what do you mean by that? But now, I've joined about, I think I'm in about three support groups, and I just try to create awareness everywhere I am. At work, it took me a while to actually mention at work that I do have it, but I found out that it's the best thing you can do for yourself is let people know so that they can support you however they can. Some people will not support you, and don't feel bad about that. Some people just cannot handle it, but it just helps you once you're just open about it and everybody knows around you, so that on the days that you're not feeling yourself, they're not going to judge you.
Yeah, and that's really good. We have a few comments here. Malvin 9K, thank you for checking in on YouTube. He said, love it.
Thank you.
We're healed by the words of our testimony and the blood
And
of the Lamb. Amen.
yes,
Yes, we
yes,
are.
yes, yes,
Melvin also said that it takes a lot of bravery to be vulnerable. He said, proud of y'all. Thank you. Thank you. It does. It does. It's
thank
like
you.
it's like you're taking off that mask,
Yes,
me,
yes,
I will be a person that is forever in recovery for perfectionism. So for me to say, hey, I'm imperfectly perfect, I
yes,
have
yes,
something going on. I'm dealing with it. So yeah, you were very encouraging to me when you put it out there. So tell us about your MS journey. Tell us how you were diagnosed and when you were diagnosed.
yes. I got diagnosed. I just had a baby in 2007, and I think that was what, the stress of pregnancy and motherhood was what really brought it out. So I got diagnosed in 2008, and started with pins and needles. Then I started having numbness. So I was numb, and the numbness was progressing, started from my legs, and then it started progressing to my whole body, and it started progressing. And then the next thing I knew, my whole body was numb. And, because I kept thinking, oh, could it be the effect of childbirth? Because I had my son with through C-section and all. So I didn't take it serious at first. I was like, oh, this is going to settle, this is going to settle, this is going to settle. And by the time I realized, okay, might not be, childbearing issues, my optic nerves were damaged, and I had lost feeling in all my body. Literally could not walk. I had to learn to walk again. And so, I had maybe 3 years of not being able to walk physically. That I had to start all over again. And you can imagine having a 1 year old child and you can't carry your child because you have no strength in your arms. It was was a very difficult season for me, but I can honestly say that God was with me. I look back now and I look at the way He raised helpers for me, the way He things worked out in the end. Now I'm like, okay, God, even though I did not see you then, when I reflect back now, I can actually acknowledge that you were the one carrying me. So then I had it took me, I think, about 10 years before I started treatment. So now I'm on the disease modifying therapy, and it's made a massive difference. And that was a journey for me as well, because when you prayed so hard to be healed of something, I kept trusting God and believing Him. That God, you're able to take this thing away from me. You're able to take this thing away from me. I had all everywhere that healing occurred in the Bible, I had it in my head, and I would say, God, you did it for this person, you did it for that person. Why couldn't you do it for me? And I just had in my spirit, you're starting treatment, and I was like, oh God, I really wouldn't it be easier to just take it away? Just let me, what a testimony that would be if I went for my MRI and there were no lesions. I'll be like, I mean, what kind of, it will be like the best evangelism tool ever. I can be like, okay, God healed me of MS. But that wasn't how God wanted it. And I realize now that it's okay. Now I realize that medical intervention is God's intervention. We don't have to feel guilty because, we're on that journey. God orchestrated it. He's the one that decides how things are going to pan out in our lives. So we just have to trust Him. We just have to just place our hands in His hands and just walk that journey with Him. And so, now I've been on the treatment about 2 years now, maybe going on 3. And honestly speaking, it's made a massive difference for me. So I'm very grateful that there's such an advancement in science to actually help us, to help us cope, to help us deal with all these side issues that come with it. And God, is such a loving Father, even when things are down, when you have the worst relapse of your life, you can actually see Him, on that journey with you. You can feel His loving arms around you, telling you that, look, you're going to be fine, you're going to be fine, you're going to be fine. So that has been my MS journey. So now, I'm kind of hopeful. I haven't lost hope that He can heal me. I'm still trusting God, but now I know that it is in His own timing. He is the one that is in charge, and I'm okay with waiting until He does it.
Yeah, I love your faith. I love that that's what you're leaning on because you can with this whole MS journey, it can get frustrating because
Yes.
it mimics other diseases. It mimics, I think, 4
Yes.
other diseases: lupus,
Yes.
and something else. There are 2 other things that it mimics, so it's hard for them.
Lyme's disease.
Okay,
Yes.
Lyme disease, lupus, and then there's something else that sort of gives the same signals that this is going on. So it's hard to diagnose, and that's
Yes.
where I was when I found out. I was diagnosed in mm, I I don't want to say 2013 or 2015, 2013, I think, and
Okay.
I was at the hospital. I was about to get admitted to the hospital because I needed a 3-day IV
Steroids.
steroid treatment
Yes.
because I was in a flare up. And at that time, I was married, and I asked my ex, and I was getting this the IV treatment, but then I also was getting a spinal tap that same
Yes.
day to
Yes.
to really figure out if this is it or not.
Yeah.
And so we were sitting there waiting to be admitted in that process, and I asked him to go get the MRI results because I just, the words with MRI, it says a lot of stuff, but I just wanted to look at the locations and stuff.
Yes. Yes.
But 5 years before that, I did an MRI of the brain, the neck,
Mm.
and the thoracic spine. He brought them both back,
Yes.
and they almost read identical. So even though um, I
It
was
didn't
there
show
at
up
that
then.
time,
Yeah.
5 years before, I still I had this
Yes.
going on. So
Yes.
thank God that he kept me all that time, because I remember being at work. This is 5 years prior to the hospital situation. I was at work and I was lifting the box, and I sort of like used my leg to hurl it over. And so they thought it was my sciatic nerve, because I was having what you said,
Yeah.
numbness
Yeah.
and tingling in my
Yeah.
legs, my feet, my toes. Um, and it was really disturbing how I can walk. And so they did physical therapy, and then the neurologist kept on putting me on these pills, pain pill. And I'm like, man, this is getting excessive. Like, I was very dependent on, like, I gotta take a pill, I gotta
Yes.
take a pill. As soon as I could feel it, I gotta take a pill. So I was like, we were in church, and there was a guest minister. He was talking, and he was like, I want to heal somebody. And said that day, that weekend, that I'm not taking this medicine anymore. This is just, I don't feel comfortable doing it. I'm not taking this medicine anymore. I said, I am healed. I'm
Yes.
healed. We have the Sunday. We get there. The minister's talking, saying he's prophesizing and telling people to come up. And I'm just sitting there like, I'm healed. Like, I don't need to come up. And so
Yeah.
he says, there's somebody here named Deborah.
Wow.
I said, but I just keep my poise. I never, nobody would have, I mean, of course, my family knew my name, but I was like,
Yeah.
He's like, you need to come up. You're healed. Da, da. And so afterwards, I just told my family, I said, see, that was just confirmation. I'm already healed. I didn't need to go up.
Yeah.
I didn't go up. But that just told me that the Lord said you're healed. And so from that day, 5 years, no flare up, no nothing, nothing. But then what prompted me to get to the hospital is because I was at work and I was driving. Went to work. I was driving home, and the right side of my face like clenched up. It clenched up. It's like I couldn't see. It's like I
Yes.
couldn't see.
Yeah.
And then my hand clenched up, sort of like that. And I was like driving, and all of a sudden, a blurred vision. I'm like, that was
Yeah.
weird, but
That's quite
it was very
scary.
fast. But it
Yeah.
was fast. But then it happened again, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is not right. So that's what prompted me to even go further. So I'm thankful that God is a healer, despite
Yes.
everything that's going on, despite what you
Yes.
feel, despite if you feel, oh, I don't want to tell anybody, I don't want to say anything, which that day I didn't say anything. Still, I was still like, I'm healed.
You see, that's the beauty of it. God knows everyone individually. He knows that Debbie is not going to come out anyway, because that's the kind of daughter she is. And he still did his miracle in your life. That's how
Yes.
awesome God is, which is amazing. I always used to, I mean, even anytime there was a guest minister in church, I was the first in line to be prayed for. I was so determined that this MS was going to go away, because I didn't want to, when I had the worst kind of fatigue when you have a child, you're feeling guilty that you can't take care of your child. You're like, oh God, how's my husband going to cope? And so the side effects are worse than the real issue. But, eventually I got to a place where I had to just trust God. Because it was looking like, okay, every time you go out, nothing happens. Every time you go out, nothing happens. Every time you go out. So I had to go back to God, and I was like, okay, God, what's happening here? Are you going to take this away or not? Or what? And suddenly I just heard in my spirit, I heard, you're starting treatment. And I was like, oh God, no. No, I didn't want to do that. Because I had this fear of injections, right from childhood. And the Holy Spirit said to me, you're starting treatment and you're going to self-inject. And I was like, oh God, you're joking. I cannot deal with injections. And he said to me, you're going to be fine. You're okay with taking injections now. You're going to be fine. And so, the next thing I knew, I get the letter for the referral, and then I'll tell you what happened, what made me see that God was on the journey with me. So I went for after I got the referral and I knew this was where I was going to start my treatment, I went to my MS support group meeting, and I tell them, oh, you guys, my letter came and I'm under this person. And everybody's like, wow, how did you manage that? How did you manage that? And I was like, manage what? What are you talking about? And they're like, look, that's the best team for treatment. That everybody, that the guy has the longest waiting list, that it takes forever to get in his team. And everybody was like, what? Who do you know? And I'm like, well, I don't know anybody, but I know the person that knows everyone. And I got in my car that day and I was like, God, I'm so grateful that you got me the best medical team when it comes to treatment. And I did not have to lift a finger. I didn't even know what was going on in the background. I literally just looked at my post and the letter was there. And, I didn't even know the guy was the best in the UK. I was like, okay. And suddenly everybody's like, wow, how did you pull that off? How did you pull that off? How did you pull that off? And I was like, no, I did not pull anything off. I had no clue. I don't even know who this person is. And I suddenly realized, okay, God, I'm really sorry that I've allowed the MS to drown out, my being able to relate with you. As I realized, okay, even on this journey, even as bad as things were, He was still working things out for me, you know. And that filled me with joy. After that day, I decided, okay, God, I'm just gonna trust you. If it's medical science the path we're gonna follow, I'm gonna trust you. Until you're ready to heal me, I'm gonna trust you. And so that's the place I am now. I know that He's able to heal me and deliver me. And I'm just waiting for His timing. And until that time comes, I will continue to self-inject.
Yeah, and I don't know if anybody has ever had to self-inject. It's not easy as you think. You think, oh, you're at home, you can do it, but it's like 1, 2, 3.
I know.
No. 1, 2, 3. No. You're like ABC. No. It's like
I know.
there's a hesitation to do it. And I've had previously had to self-inject and it was very hard. You're like, I'm about to do it. No. I'm about to do it. So it takes a lot of someone says on here, it says they said God bless your courage is one of the comments that we have here. Thank you all for listening to our journey and sharing this with us. We appreciate you just for listening in. If y'all have any questions, please let us know in the comments. We will gladly answer. How did your family and friends receive you putting it in the book?
Oh, do you know, I had quite a bit of an opposition
Mm.
because I was like, oh my God, it's not out there. The whole world knows that you have it. And my husband at first wasn't comfortable with it. And then I said, you know what? Think of it as an assignment God gave me that, I need to encourage other people that actually have it and have it really bad. I said, look, it's okay for us to be medicated on this journey. And so he was like, okay, if you say it's God's assignment for you, then okay, it's fine, So I think for my friends, the ones that are really close to me already knew about it. They knew I had MS, and so they were like, "Oh, Inka, it's a good thing you're talking about it. It's a good thing you're writing about it in the book." And so, in fact, quite a couple of them told me ahead of time that, look, I think you should write this thing down because they've seen how I'd gone through so many flares and I lost function and I gained it back, and they're like, look, all these things you've gone through, I lived 10 years without any kind of help, no medication, nothing. And so a couple of them have been like, Inka, you need to write about these things. You need to write about these things, that one friend actually said to me, Inka, there's a book in your future and you need to start jotting things down. So I thought, okay, let's see, but I never took that step to write. So my family, well, most of them were quite happy that, when they're just happy that you're alive, they're like, okay, if you want to write about it, fine, anything that feels that you're comfortable with, it's okay. My siblings were all, they're like, you go girl, just write about anything you want to write about, and, because you don't know how you bring hope to other people. When I see people that the MS has really, deteriorated, that they're so far gone. And I can actually tell them, I'm like, look, I also had a season where I couldn't walk. I had a season where I didn't see in one eye. As I'm speaking with you, this left side of my body still has not recovered. But you know what? It's okay. I know that God is going to carry me through. And it makes you depend on God more. When you want to open a jam and you haven't got the strength in your hand, it's very humbling. You're like, oh my God, this MS again. But I can actually say that, look, even when things are bad, it just reminds me that, look, God has got your back. Okay, fine, that won't open. Look for something else to eat, that kind of thing. You just move past it. And I tell everyone that the MS has progressed. I'm like, look, it's not the end of the world. You can't come out of it. The functions you lose, that's how amazing our God is. It's able to get you back again. You can walk again. You can, all these things that you looks like you. I mean, everyone that has optic neuritis, I tell them, look, it's not the end of the world. Your vision is going to come back. Just keep trying to read. Just keep trying to use that side of your eyes.
Yep.
The human brain is amazing. It's however damaged the nerves are, it will find a new pathway once it sees that that function is still needed. And so, I'm like, look, don't give up. So long as you don't give up on yourself, you don't give up on, oh, I've lost this function. Okay, let it be gone. Just don't accept that. Oh, I'm not able to work. It will be difficult. You have to do physio. You have to do all sorts of therapy, and then the incontinence issues. Oh my God, how do you deal with that? And I'm like, look, it's a season, and it will pass.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it because when I think about MS, it's like I'll be going fine. I'll be on a street, nothing's going on. And then it's slightly when my brain wants to say, don't worry about MS, boom, he
I know.
shows up.
I know.
He shows up and I can't sleep because my legs are restless, or I sleep and then when I wake up, I'm still tired. So it's like,
Yes. Yes.
why? Like, get off of
I
me.
know. I know. You don't have those days.
Melvin chimed in with a comment. He said, "That's powerful. Thank you for listening in, watching us today." So, what do you tell somebody? I mean, because you're so encouraging. What do you say to yourself when you're like, ugh, you're not just feeling, your best? How do you encourage yourself?
I think the first thing is acceptance. Because the fatigue is so bad that even after you've had a full night's sleep, you don't recharge to 100% anymore with MS. At best, you recharge to 60%. So you've got to manage yourself well. You've got to decide, okay, is this activity worth all my energy? And if it isn't, just let it go. You have to pace yourself. And once you've accepted that, look, this is the journey I'm on now, you can actually you can handle things better. You're not overwhelmed. You just realize, okay, fine. And all my friends know that I do not accept to attend anything until the last minute, because I'm not going to drive when my legs aren't functioning well. If I don't feel my legs, I am getting behind the wheels. So everybody knows that with me. They're like, okay, Yinka does not give a definite yes until the day of the event, because I can wake up and my legs just aren't functioning. So, and they're okay with it. They're like, okay, you can, everybody, they will support you once they know that that's what is happening. But when you don't say, we don't look like there's anything wrong with us. We literally look like we're having a ball. But you don't feel your legs, or you don't have any feeling in one arm, and you cannot tell people that, look, I'm sorry, I cannot meet up for coffee anymore because I can't hold a cup of coffee. It's ridiculous, but that's what it is. So you have to accept that. And I think one of the major things I tell myself is, look, Nika, this thing hasn't caught God by surprise. You have to understand that, look, He's not sitting there like, oh my God, I didn't see this coming. The Lord already saw ahead. He knew that at this particular age, Yinka is going to deal with MS. And honestly speaking, he already put things in place. But the minute we lose our communication with him, the minute we we get angry and we're like, oh God, how could you allow this? How could you allow this? How could you allow this? Then you don't hear from him, and then you do not see the solution is put in place for you. It's put people around you, people that will fill the gap of what you couldn't do. People that will carry you and help you along that journey. But the minute you're in that place of, oh, why me, why me, why me, why me, why me, you don't see those opportunities, you don't see those people. And so you have to get to, that communication line with the Lord has to be permanently opened, honestly, however difficult it is. Even when you cannot, you can't really pray, the intense, you know, just it's okay to just say a line of prayer, God, I need to see you in this, I need your help here. And that's enough. The Lord does not need us to do a long speech.
Yep.
Just that one line of, God, I need help today, or I'm like, okay, God, I don't really feel my legs today. I need help, And he will either bring physical relief, or he will ask you to call your MS nurse, and they will put you on steroids or whatever. He still wants to direct us, even in that dark season. And so you can't afford to, not communicate with him. You cannot afford that. So I always say, however depressing you get, or you think, okay, God, why would you allow this happen to me? Because you will get those seasons, you will get those moments where you're kind of angry at God, and you're like, why me? Just remind yourself that, look, this hasn't caught God by surprise, and he will make a way for me. And so once you keep that line of communication open, something will come up. You will either get a solution will come, something that is going to bring relief to you one way or the other will always come.
Yeah, I think that's awesome because he wants us to really rely on him. And he's like, you know what? You hard headed, Deborah Cole. I'm gonna give you something that's gonna make you ask for help and ask for, for assistance. I'm gonna make you.
Yes,
So part of it is a little slight little chastisement for me, like, you want to be perfect? You're not perfect.
yes, yes. And
Yes.
we like to feel like superwoman, we're like, okay, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. For me, that was my major thing. I always used to I never could say no to people. If you came to me with any kind of massive, oh, you can help me do this. I mean, like, oh, you can need to move houses. I'm already thinking of where to get boxes for you. I'm already arranging my schedule to make sure that I'm there. That kind of thing. And every day, I'm like, look, you guys, it's okay to say no sometimes. You don't have to say. And the people that you're even, they don't mind. If you're completely honest with them, you're like, okay, look, I'm really sorry. I really would love to help you, but, I don't have the strength today. And they're going to be okay with it. But because you think, oh, I can't explain to this person, oh, I feel like I'm going to disappoint this person, they're going to be okay with it. Just tell them, look, it's just not, I'm not there today. I can't help you because a lot is going on in my physical body, even though it doesn't look it, but I can't feel my legs. So that you just have to know your limits, don't overdo things. Don't feel as if, oh, you've got to accomplish so and so, and set yourself unreasonable targets. Just if the day you can't cook, just be okay with beans on toast.
Yes, I'm retired from cooking. I'm retired. I came out of retirement for a slight little bit when my daughter was pregnant. I was doing a little cooking, but yeah, I'm retired.
You're very lucky. I haven't retired, but I don't. I pace myself now. I don't. Before, oh my God, I could cook a storm. I could try this food and that. And I'm putting everything, and I'm like, okay, now, I'm like, look, do you really need to do this? If you don't feel like it, just be okay. To do or order food in. Just work with the strength that you have. Don't waste your your remaining 80, I mean 30% recharge on cleaning the bathroom. What's that? Just just conserve your energy, and you're like, okay, I cannot clean up, and be okay with it. Don't feel guilty. Don't feel as if, oh my God, my bathroom is in a state. Oh, and then you get all worked up and you're like, oh my God, it's okay.
Yeah, and you'll work yourself back into a flare up.
Exactly. Exactly.
So you don't want to do that. So you got to stay calm. You got to stay chill. And I have to talk to myself. I just say, chill out, chill, relax. Don't insert yourself unnecessarily. I don't
Yes.
be trying to. No. Stay back.
Yes. Yes.
Let the Lord send the Lord ahead of them. Well, Inka, I love you. I appreciate you for sharing your story and helping me to share my story to get it out there because we're warriors. We are, the Lord has strengthened us and He has really taken care of us
Yes.
up until this point. So we have to really, for me, trying to hide it and trying to not say nothing, not necessarily hide it, just not omit it, is that
Yeah.
I'm not giving God glory. And
Yes.
that's what it's
Yes.
all about. It's about giving God the glory, saying, hey, this is what's going on, but look how God is showing up on my
Yes.
behalf.
Yes.
And if he can do it for me,
He
he's
can do
doing
it
it
for
for
you.
you. He's
Yes.
going to do it for other people. So it's
Yes.
really just a
Yes.
testimony to be able to help other people. So I
Yes.
appreciate you and thank you. Tell everybody where they can follow you at to continue the journey as you continue to write and all that.
I
Tell us
know.
where they can find you at and tell us, do you have any upcoming projects? Is there a
Oh
book
yes, I
coming
do.
up?
Yes, yes. Now that I've started writing, it's like I can't stop. Every time I think about it, like, oh my God, I really should write about this. I really should write about this. So I'm on Facebook as Yinka Kilani. I am on Instagram as Yinka Kilani. I am on LinkedIn as Adayinka Kalani, and my email address is adeyinkakilani@yahoo.com. So I've got another anthology that I'm writing in now that is out of the ashes we rise. I want to talk about you know the difficult journeys we find ourselves in, and that God actually brings us out of it. So that's another anthology that is going to come out in, I think, for Easter. And then I am also working on my solo book now, which is my original assignment that God gave me to. So I kind of I do that. I'm like, okay, you need to write something today. And then I write a bit, and then I'm kind of looking for time that I can actually sit down and do a proper, just get all the things out there. I'm like, okay, this is what the Lord wants me to talk about. So be on the lookout. There's more coming out. God has given me so many ideas. I actually wake up and I have titles in my head. I'm like, okay, God, I don't know how you want me to do about that, but I didn't write it down. I'm like, okay, God. So you see a lot of book ideas in my phone now. Book idea, I write the title God gave me. Sometimes you give me chapter headings, and I'm like, okay, God, I'm okay with it. I'm gonna do it. You're just gonna help me through it. So and then, when I now see a call for author, I'm like, okay, this I can actually participate in this. This actually is where you want me to share that story. And I fit it in. It's like a jigsaw puzzle for me now because I know the things that the Lord wants me to talk about, and I've noted them down. So when I maybe I see the call for author on Facebook or Instagram, it's like I feel the nudge. Okay, this is where you need to write that story. This is where you need to write that story. And so that has been my journey so far. So I know that there's a couple more that the Lord still wants me to talk about. So I don't know if they're going to be anthologies or if they're going to be in, well, most of it will be in my solo book because that's where I'm going to pour it all out. My whole journey as a mom with a special needs child, as someone living with a lifelong condition, and all the things that the Lord wants, that the Lord has brought me out of. I know that He wants me to talk about them. He wants me to encourage anyone else that is going through all those things. So be on the lookout, everybody.
All right. That is awesome. Thank you so much for being on Light the Path.
I know. Thank you for having me too.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, everybody, that is another transparency talk. That was part two. The next one will be next Tuesday. Do I have it already scheduled? Let me see. Yeah, next Tuesday, the 22nd, another transparency talk. So make sure you like and subscribe. And this actual broadcast will be on all, it will be available on all audio platforms tomorrow morning. So look out for that. Listen to the replay. Thank you all. See you later.